Welcome back to episode 9 of B3 MTB podcast, where we talk about bikes, bruises, and beverages.
With your host, John Earle.
And Tally Hall.
We're just your average dudes riding bikes and telling our story about it. We are live on Instagram and Facebook. Hit us up, B3MTB. If you have any questions, you want to reach out to us, ride with us, we have an email, b3mtbcrew@gmail.com.
We're on YouTube, and today was the first time that we rode, I guess with the intent to put separate stuff on YouTube.
We finally got to use our new gifts we got, our GoPro 11.
Santa is so good.
Minis. So we'll be putting that up. It'll probably take a little bit to cut it all together and figure all that nonsense out. But
yeah, figure out how to do it.
It's a little more difficult than just talking into a microphone.
It's so hard. I was like, we're just going to talk. I'm going to ride. I'm going to narrate what I'm doing on the trail. That worked for about 30 seconds, and then the rest of the video is just like me riding and
heavy breathing.
Like just heavy breathing.
At least you figured out how to turn yours on. I was having trouble turning mine on.
And a monumental episode here.
Yeah, not only is it a ride cast.
Yes.
We rode today. We rode at Loyce, Harpe Park, Carter Road.
Yeah.
So it's not only our second ride cast?
Second ride cast.
So not only is it just our second ride cast, but we have a guest.
We have a guest. The entire world. I would like to introduce you to my dad, also Tally Hall.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
So, we've talked about it before, but Dad, you were kind of the catalyst that got me aware of the world of mountain biking and took me on a ride. And for a number of years, you were telling me weekly stories about your epic adventures in the Pacific Northwest riding mountain bikes. And now here we are, the opposite corner of the U.S., still doing it.
And thanks to me, you have a garage full of mountain bikes right now.
Yeah, I know.
Of which only one are yours.
Yeah. Those kids really love watching that bike as they walk past it. Glad we got him.
Your dad brought his e-bike with us today.
Yeah.
And he tried to let me ride it multiple times, but I started off very shaky today. And I think he saw.
No, you started off super, super amazing. I thought you were an e-bike behind me because I was trying to go so fast, and I just heard you like right behind me the whole time.
So flat riding, I was doing well, right? Once we hit the trails, I started getting real shaky. I don't know. I was making silly mistakes. I don't know, not watching the lines right. My bike was pushing left, pushing right. I couldn't keep it straight.
That's why I was riding so poorly. I was following your line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that.
Yeah, one of us focused very hard on the B for bruises, which are still developing.
Yeah, that's funny. Before we forget.
How do we forget where we were?
Because it's so easy. It's so fun to just jump right into it. But we also need to talk about what we're drinking so people can make fun of my beers that I choose.
Yeah, let the ladies know what you're drinking today.
Ladies, if you're listening, and I know you are, I have a New Belgium, say that word right there,
Dominga.
Mimosa Sour. Now, this is a beer. See, I gave him one he didn't even know.
Yeah, you gave it away because you even don't want to drink it.
No, I love them. They're delicious.
They're actually delicious.
I brought a bunch of them.
But
everyone's going to make fun of me, right? Because, Earl's drinking another sour, right? And this is not Mimosa Sour. This is like...
You stepped it up
This
today.
is the girl, the flailed wrist of the flail.
The can is almost pink.
Yeah, it's small.
Coral.
I like
it's coral.
It's coral. I like it. Reminds me of a beautiful sunset.
After your long walk on the beach.
Whatever, dude. I'll say it. Like, I love fruity, sour beers, right? Everyone, and the thing is, everyone does.
Yeah.
Just some people won't say it.
To that point, I didn't buy it, but Erica purchased this.
Oh, please.
And I got so happy when I saw it.
I'll fact check you on that.
Yeah, you can. Because I have, for my first beer, a Blue Moon mango wheat, and I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, and when you told me that, I was like, that sounds delicious, and I'll take that for my second beer.
I'm gonna do the. We're gonna see how I feel. I might steal one of your mimosas, or I might go with the Terrapin Luau.
You won't.
I want what?
Go with the Terrapin because the mimosa's sitting right there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then Mr. H, are you going to indulge yourself?
I will, but looking at the stack of beer in front of you two, I'm wondering who's the designated driver.
No, so we have 2 drinks, and then we just sit and hang out.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a podcast where we wrap up and go home.
No,
We
won't be drinking all those, that's for sure. He just brought a selection.
That's what he's talking about. No, those are for the YouTube channel, so you can see what beers we're drinking, and maybe one day someone's going to be like, "Hey, we're going to give you beer for fun, for free."
Yeah, like if New Belgium reaches out to us and is like, "You want some mimosa sours?" I'll be like, "I'll take as many as you can give me."
New Belgium is my like if I were to choose one beer as a sponsor,
Really?
it would be them. Yeah, dude, they're always coming out. They have different varieties. I'm not one of those guys that I'm gonna have the same favorite beer for longer than a couple months. No. It's gonna change.
All right, we got that out of the way. And someone will complain we didn't talk about it enough, but we have a lot of riding to talk about.
You're gonna like this mango wheat. That's delicious.
Super fruity.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no, it's not a beer that you'd want to like. Just be like, I don't know.
If you're watching on YouTube, we just lost half our lights.
Yeah.
But it'll come back.
But we got our portable lighting system. Thanks, Santa. Yeah, so let's talk about where we're at today because we've talked about riding Carter Roads before. We've talked about that it's fun, but I said it was probably my least favorite of the ABCs. And I'm not ready to put this ahead of anything else, but I had so much fun. I was like riding some of these trails. I forgot how good they are.
Well, it's been, like we talked about earlier, it's been probably almost a year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I came here prior to last Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they've changed a lot. They've fixed stuff, which I'm assuming they had to do because of the storm, right? They probably had a lot of washout and stuff like that. But just the things that were like super sketchy to ride, they've made fun.
Yeah, they put new wood in there. It's not like rotting wood. Yes.
It's really nice. So let's start. Tally, Mr. H. When was the last time you rode here?
Was it with me?
Yeah, it was with you. So 2 years ago?
2, wow.
Yeah, I guess
It was one of the very first places
Yeah.
we rode together. And I went swimming. Luckily I got my swim.
that was the last time you were here? Oh my gosh, that's a great story.
Swimming?
Yes.
I got my laps in.
So remember when we talked about the Jared's Revenge?
Uh-huh.
So I fell off the trail to another trail into the water.
That was your fault.
The exit has a climb with like a steep right turn underneath a palm tree. Mm-hmm. It's on like cinder block. And so it looks like you can clear it. And I think we talked about it today, Dad, and you were like, it doesn't look that bad.
No, it didn't look that bad today, but I didn't see it the first time I ran into it.
Yeah, so that's what I said.
Really
I bet it didn't look that bad the first time.
I went swimming, and then I got back up on the trail. Thank goodness there is a couple of pool ladders that people have put there. I was able to climb up the pool ladder and huck my bike back onto the trail. And then when I rode by it a second time, I thought, oh, my gosh, nobody can possibly get by this. But
you do.
But you do, yeah.
That feature hadn't changed. So it's a right turn. The palm tree's on the right. So your right shoulder hit the palm tree. It threw you left, which it's a turn on some exposure. So when you fall left, you drop into water, the water underneath you.
So much exposure here.
Yeah, oh my gosh, and that's one of the cool things. Like every turn, even like when you're going straight, it's like on either side. Like it's really cool to ride like that, and there's going to be some negative consequences.
Right. Well, one of the geez, one of the first ones, I'm all turned around here, but one of the first ones we went into, just like I said, I was off balance. Something was going on.
Is that the one that Nate fell on?
No. One of the, do you remember what trail it was that you fell, that I caused you to get that?
I just remember it being the middle finger. So as far as I'm concerned, that was it because I didn't like going swimming.
No. So the one you fell on was Jared's Revenge, but that was earlier.
Anyway, in the beginning, I was off kilter, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Off kilter.
Yeah, kilter.
Okay.
We just started going down. Oh, you know what? It was right after. It was right into the your mom, that red trail.
That's the one?
Yes.
That was, I've never ridden that.
It's closed a lot. It's the only red trail here, and for a reason. That trail is gnarly. It gets skinny, high, jumpy, droppy for sure, right? There's some big drops into some narrow landings. But right when we turned into that trail, I was riding left, and my bike just started sliding out from under me, and your dad was right behind me. And I go, wow, this is like a great start, right? But we got into that trail. Oh, so good.
But your mom is the, so yeah, it's a red trail. It's a double black. It's a jump line on top of a ridge. And a pretty thin ridge.
Wouldn't really call it a jump line. I'd call it a trail with good jumps.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
Because they're like the uphill portion of that trail, like sapped a lot of energy. Like I remember, I was like, because I was thinking it was kind of like a jump line. There's so many jumps that I was like, you can flow in between, but I was exhausted.
I think that's where we got our first bruise.
Yeah. Do you remember was that your first fall?
Yeah, that drop.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because I watched.
I messed up our flow. I slid my bike out, had a weird start. We got back on, went down. It was one of the first drops.
Yeah, it was the first one. It's the big one, and I was too close to you. This was a kind of a mistake that started out the fall. Is that by the time I saw that drop, it was too late to accelerate and really too late. I could have probably stopped, but I tried to roll it, and I went right over the top.
It wasn't rollable. No. Yeah. And you caught a nasty bruise. I'm sure it's going to be a nasty bruise. Right now, the B stands for some blood because you got some blood on your shirt.
Yeah.
I got both of them, blood and bruise.
Yeah, so when we came out of that trail and we saw that, we're like, oof. But that also has the Jacob's ladder on it. I have a funny story about the Jacob's ladder. So none of us did it.
No. I was tired, but it looks like you got to be super dialed in to hit that. The drops aren't big, but
they're so narrow and close.
Yeah, like as soon as you land, your land is your takeoff for the next 2 foot. Like, and then if you it's on exposed hill. So if you don't get it right, you're going down a hill or you're hitting a tree and then going down a hill and landing in water.
So one of our first mountain bike trips out here, our buddy Will.
Oh, Willie J.
This is where his confidence started going downhill. He hit that. He was like, oh, it's easy. Watch this. And he went and did it, right? Got the first drop. His bike landed a little weird, and there's no room to correct because you're going right into the next drop, right? He's rolling, and the bike is rolling with him. And so, like, imagine someone upside down with their bike on them like this.
Yeah.
One of our other group riders is like, are you okay? And he's still rolling. It's like, let me finish my roll before I can answer you, dude.
Let me hit every turn on the way down before you ask me if I'm okay, buddy.
That's so fun. That's where his confidence started going down. But he'll build that back up if he ever gets back on his bike.
So, yeah, if he ever wants to go riding in, he's more than welcome. So I'm looking at the map. I feel like they've added things. Because you have Cruddy Buddy leads to Baby Beast, which leads to your mom. But before that, there was Skunk Ape. But there was Max. I'm not seeing Max G's. Okay, that might be Max G's. But like Puffin Stuff, Skunk Ape, like all those trails, Horseshoe. Like those were so much. Like those are the blues and blacks like that start off like after the first 5-10 minutes. Those to me are a ton of fun. Like
yeah, they are. But It just seems like every entrance into it is a climb.
Yeah, so usually it's like you go in and like you climb later. Like you earn your ride in like the first 30 seconds.
Which is good at the beginning. You know, we're all pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But when you get to the end of things, that's what kills me. Like when we get to the fingers, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But all those trails were really good.
Yeah, I felt pretty fit on all those.
Yeah, you
on
would.
my e-bike.
So yeah, so all of these awesome trails, like you got to climb. Like it's a pretty steep climb. Like you're off your seat, you're pedaling hard to get up, get any of the elevation to go right down. And so, dude, I'm trying to narrate the trail that I'm riding on camera, and it's just a disaster because I'm just trying to focus on breathing and then my dad on an e-bike was just like sitting in his seat. I think he's reading a newspaper, drinking a cup of coffee, making phone calls, and then he like gets to send all the stuff we get to send, but with very little effort.
Yeah.
And if he goes over like a route where there's so many routes here, that is like, if you don't like riding over, it's kind of one of the negatives. If you don't like riding over routes, it's not very much fun. But if you're on an e-bike, you just kind of like, you just go over them.
Just little speed bumps.
There's little speed bumps.
Can't fault the man for being smart and having an e-bike.
Oh, listen, are we gonna? So I forget who put it on there. On Facebook, I sent this to you, and it was just some dude riding an escalator.
Oh yeah.
And it was
People training for e-bikes.
E-bike mountain biker training for race season. It was just him standing on an escalator.
So true.
Yeah, that got me good. I got I laughed a lot.
All right, so
Dude, we could just go through this trail map and just document like where my dad fell a lot. Where did you because your shirt's all bloody. Where'd you get that?
That was the first one.
that was the
That
one
was
we
your
just talked
first
about.
one? Okay. Yeah, because I noticed that when we
So
went
we
on
didn't notice it until the top of
Sneaky Snake?
Yeah, before we entered Sneaky Snake. Well, we noticed that on the way out.
Yeah, because there's that
came back
little
around.
rest area. Sneaky Snake is fun, and they redid it. They put a new
And
kind
exit.
of a wooden exit up that last
took
little
that.
turn. I tried to take it,
I took it.
and I didn't make it.
That climb out is always like, I've always remembered that climb out as just being so miserable. I don't know if I've ever actually made it, but that wooden exit was a lot nicer.
So what was so I've done that exit before, and I remember like celebrating, but prior to that 180 degree like turnaround point, there's a little like uphill into a route like in between a tree, and I don't think I've ever done that.
No?
Today I got pretty close, but I put my foot down. It's just kind of one of those like little technical. You can lift your front tire up, but like as your front tire comes up, your momentum comes down. Like it's coming down into a route, and so all my momentum stops. It's hard for me to keep going. I've never gotten the hang of it, and I don't really want to try to, like, it's not something that I'm like, let me really session this, and
You have to point it out next time. I can't picture it.
because you just ride over it every time.
Probably.
It's just so easy for me. I didn't even notice it was a feature.
No. But we got to the top of Sneaky Snake.
Sneaky Snake,
There's a B3 MTB
bro.
sticker up there.
So crazy that we have fans everywhere. I mean, worldwide, really.
No, I mean, all our stickers are gone at the bike shop,
Yep.
so we have to go put more back. But
And I had the honor. Someone had a gun case. 2 people had gun cases that were clean of stickers. And
they allowed you.
they said, we would like to give you the honor. And it was a meaningful moment.
That's nice. I'll have to get those names later.
Yes.
So coming out of Sneaky Snake, we rested for a minute.
Yeah, coming out of Sneaky Snake, that was when,
That's fun. It's always fun.
bro, it's a fast.
The camera doesn't do justice.
Oh my gosh, bro, I felt like I was going so fast. Like I remember thinking like, dude, I hope I hope my camera's on because this is gonna look so awesome.
I rode behind you. We came down to the end, and there's 2 different lines. You took a left line. I took the higher right line.
I was going so fast that I didn't even see the other lines. Yeah, that's how fast I was moving.
And that top line was it felt so cool in the moment because we were moving. Again, the camera's not going to show it, but we were going. And there was a little drop at the end. I dropped in right on your back tire. And then we hit the berm.
Yes.
And then we hit that little jump and like little baby whips.
Yeah.
Scared those little kids, right? Because
It was like
on a mountain bike.
2 8-year-olds fishing, like running out of the way. Because to them, it looked like we were out of control, but we weren't.
Well, in their defense, we were flying.
We stopped and we looked because we were like, dude, that was some epic riding. It's going to look really good on camera. And we looked at it.
We looked at it. Enough said.
It looks like if those 8-year-olds had learned how to ride a bike.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I just pulled my Strava up, and our max speed was 19.4 miles. My max speed was 19.4. And I can't think of a time we were going faster than that little section.
Yeah, because
Can you?
Yeah, the downhills we don't really. They're not downhill long enough to catch that amount of speed. Like the downhills are too short, so that was probably the fastest we were going. And if you don't mountain bike and you think 19 miles an hour sounds really slow, it's because you've been driving your whole life. Go 19 miles an hour in between trees.
Specific person we're talking about. Anyway, we'll post that little video. You'll make fun of it.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll speed it up. We'll make it look really cool.
We lived it, so.
Dad, where's your next fall? Because you crushed it.
Well,
It crushed you.
I've lost track of them, actually.
Yeah, if you're not watching on YouTube,
I remember the last one.
He's moving his shoulder, like just making sure that there's still a rotation.
And it may not be tomorrow. Which we'll
Yeah.
have to wait and see.
Well, there was one, I think it was Lord of the Flies. Yeah. Lord of the Flies, where I don't know what happened, but you're in front of me.
that was you guys. I didn't go on that one.
So he was in front of me, and
You fell in that.
yeah, so, yeah.
Well, the faster rider usually leads.
You guys didn't tell me that.
Well, it's because you're on a motorcycle. Of course, you're a faster rider. And so he is teeter-tottering with his, waist on his handlebars. But, have you ever, the movies where, the car is on the cliff and, it's like...
Might
and
be a little exaggeration.
If they lean a little bit one way, the car goes that way, and then they lean the other way, and the car goes that way. That's what I felt. And it's not that big of an exaggeration because you're in front of me. I see you fall, and you're going over the handlebars, and you have one hand on the side of the hill, but you don't have enough. You don't have enough grip to push off of it, and you're just barely stopping your forward momentum. So he's perfect. He can't push himself out, and he's holding himself on so he can't go forward. But it's a precarious little situation.
What were you stuck on? What was it?
Well, I was teeter-tottering, but when I put my hand out on the uphill side of the trail, because it's cut into the bank, it was all just kind of like dirt and gravel and stuff, and I couldn't get enough purchase to push myself back. And so I kept pawing at the trail, trying to get something to grab onto. And I'd have to thank my son because he was off his bike pretty fast to come to my aid.
So yeah, so it was teeter-tottering so much.
We just thought this.
Yeah, I got off my bike.
It wasn't that dramatic that you were able to get off your bike,
got off my bike,
walk up to him,
set it down. It was a jog. I jogged up.
That's a long fall.
Yeah, and dude, I had time, and unfortunately, I wanted so bad to be the factor that got you back up, and I jogged over there. I'm like, Dad, you okay? And I knew you were fine, but I also realized very quickly you were in this teeter-totter, and you had just gotten enough momentum to get yourself back up, and you were laughing the whole time. But it was.
I didn't consider that a fall.
It was that's a fall. You completely stopped.
I was still on top of my bike.
Yes. Well, being on top of your bike does not mean you're riding your bike.
I wasn't there, guys. I'm sorry. This is between you two.
Know. If your waist is over your handlebars and your hand is touching the ground in front of you, to me that feels like a fall.
Well, it wasn't like the three falls today that where I went clearly over the handlebars and
Like in the next one. The next one was,
Was the next one the wood feature?
yeah.
So this is the wood feature that Erica.
So after our poor tabletop jumps, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are.
yeah,
I've
we wanna
never.
talk about
Yeah,
those.
I've never gotten a good. Yeah, those might not make YouTube. Just assume that we did some really cool stuff on these tabletops. So
Yeah.
cool that we can't show you.
yeah.
Well, I mean, they weren't recorded. So.
Yeah, they weren't.
And then we rode through, and they do have that. It's a really cool. I like it a lot. It's a feature. It's a wooden feature. You ride up, and then there's like 3 different routes to go. Right,
Yeah,
left,
almost
right,
almost
middle.
looks like a trident.
Yeah, it looks exactly like a trident.
Yeah, they should call it the trident.
I wonder if I don't know. We'll look it up. But I don't think I've ever gone right. I've gone middle. I've gone left, and I don't know why. Because I don't know if right is. I don't even know if I've ever looked at right. Is there anything special about it, or is it just a ride down? I don't know.
No. Well, I mean,
You tried.
I went right.
he went right.
I went right. Yeah.
No,
What-
there's nothing special about it.
What was it? Is it just a right turn, right to left turn, and then
Yeah.
ride down? Right?
Yep. No, those easy. That's why I chose it.
Yeah.
Well, to be clear, we'll have video of it because I was walking on top of it before we did it. This is an elevated platform.
Yeah. It's,
So when you start off on the handle of the trident, so you get a visual, that is a 6 to 8 foot climb, and it's pretty steep. So you have to have a lot of momentum, a lot of speed going up it, and most people are probably going at like less than 1 mile an hour when they get to the top of it. It's like you don't have. It's so steep that it's really hard to carry momentum through it, and that's what I think makes it really difficult. Because Erica fell going straight, and she fell hard. Like her hip was black and blue for a couple weeks.
on straight. I feel like straight is kind of.
It looks like the easiest one until you get up there. You don't have any momentum, so you're kind of pedaling to get momentum. So your time to set up for the drop isn't that great, and then the landing is steep enough that you could drag your crank, your drivetrain on the way down, which
Yeah, you have-
throws you off your bike, and then there's a tree on the ground.
Yeah, if you're not gonna, it's almost like you almost can't roll it, but you kind of can. You kind of have to, like, if you're gonna roll it, you gotta push your bike out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So it's a drop. It's only maybe like 1.5 2 foot. Narrow landing, trees on both sides. That's what makes that one difficult. It's techie,
Yes.
right? If you take the left, you make that left. It's a ride around. It's not a super big ride around, but it's a ride around. And remember, you're 8. This one.
It
You
goes
start
up a
making
little
right-hand
bit. Yeah.
turn, you go up a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Maybe another 2 feet. So now
Yeah.
you're like 10 feet off the ground. It's got a peak and then a ride down.
Yeah.
Which the peak is almost what makes it difficult.
Yeah, because you got to keep pedaling,
Yeah.
and so your balance is like kind of off the whole time.
And we're talking, 2-3 feet platform, 8-10 feet off the ground.
Yeah. So like by itself, if it was just that peak, the climb to the drop, not a big deal. If it was just a turn and then you went down, not a big deal. You know, if it wasn't 6 to 8 feet off the ground, not a big deal. But I think the totality of putting all those together makes it a feature that, again, isn't super challenging, but you have to be,
Commit to it.
you have to get everything right. And you didn't get everything right.
No, I think my big problem was, other than poor choices, was I ran out of speed and my front tire kind of, when you slow down, my front tire just kind of waffled over a little bit because I was going too slow.
Waffle, left or right?
It went left.
So you went on the far right one.
You went on the far right one. I saw the whole thing. It was in my mind. I was just like, oh my God.
Well, we're trying to make memories here. So.
Oh my, I may have gotten it on camera. I don't know if my camera was on.
So I did, because I did the left one, and it's a right turn, and I looked over my shoulder just to see what the next rider was going to do, and I just saw a diagonal downward descent into trees and onto the ground.
Which is not how it's supposed to go.
No,
Yeah,
no.
So he went up, went to the right, fell to the left, and landed on the left side of the middle, and your bike landed in between both of them.
Yeah, so his bike landed in between right and middle, and he landed almost under the left side to the point where I was like, you traversed from, if you're looking at the landing, looking up, you traversed left to right probably 12 to 15 feet, like by the end of it.
I saw you put your leg out. You tried to catch yourself.
You tried, because there's like this weird stump that runs horizontally through the whole thing.
Well, it's a oak tree. It's a low oak tree branch that the thing is built over the top of. And when I started to fall, I went to put my left foot out, and because that big old tree is right there, but it's another foot or two below the wood feature.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you'd have to fall 2 feet to land on it.
I have to, and that's exactly what I did. I don't know how I got over the next section, because I like to think I look more like a Olympic gymnast.
Yeah. Well, you haven't watched the Olympics in a while.
Well, you didn't get hurt. We don't know any bruises yet. Bike is good.
Yeah, the first one, your shirt's all bloody, and then, what was the next one? Is that on the finger, the second finger?
Did you fall on that? The finger?
Yeah, you fell on one of the fingers.
I only went over the handlebars 3 times, which is a record for me.
Yeah, you're usually pretty squared away when it comes to not falling.
Yeah, I think what happened is I was going super fast, and you weren't able to make a part of the feature what we were on, and I had to slow down, and that made me fall. I think it was.
That's entirely possible.
My son's fault.
That is entirely possible.
True.
I'm
sure glad I came with you guys today, because really, you guys wouldn't have had anything really to talk about on this podcast.
It would have been a little 5-minute quick hit, and we would have been on our way. But thanks, Dad. We really appreciate it.
After your first fall, I was like, oh, sweet, I don't have to fall today for content.
Yeah.
I know Tally's not going to do it.
Well, I fell walking.
That's true. You did fall. That's the finger. That's the second finger, third finger.
Yeah. So it was like a steep climb. I didn't have the energy to get up. So I jumped off my bike and I started. I don't even know how I did it. I've never been able to do. I've never done it before.
You were walking up it, and I was just starting to climb, and then I saw you fall.
Like my knee hit my tire, and I just fell up. Oh, what is
Nathan?
That? Oh my.
Nathan P. Don't call me when I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, dude.
And you distracted me. I'm gonna blame it on you because I couldn't do that climb. I'm so tired. And I was like, "Did you just fall while walking?" You just laughed. So I naturally walked my bike there too.
Yeah, well, like my feet just gave out, and I held on to my handlebars. I think that's what made it. I didn't ditch my bike, so I just Supermaned my way onto the ground.
And by the time we got to those fingers, I was smoked.
Yeah,
I didn't do a lot of the things on there, and you didn't do a couple of things on there. And
yeah, we've definitely ridden more technical stuff. Like we've ridden the fingers better than what we rode today, but I think we were. I don't know if it's because we had cameras on, but I felt like I rode faster in the first 45 minutes than I normally do.
Burnt ourselves out.
Just kind of burnt us out where it's like, I remember the first 5 minutes, even the warm-up, I was like, oh, I'm feeling good. The weather's amazing. It's like a fast little course. I got my new GoPro on. Like, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to narrate it. 5 minutes in, my legs are on fire. I feel like I have no energy. I am trying to eat less and exercise more to get ready for this race.
It's funny that you bring it up because we both talked about that. And today is my first day of fasting, and I didn't. I'm doing a 12 to 8 eat.
I think that's a good time to eat. Like you've done well to pick those hours.
It's great. It's a terrible time to ride.
Yeah,
right? Because now I'm not eating. I'm riding.
Yeah, we started riding at 3:30.
The only thing I ate was a sandwich. So I caught a nasty cramp on finger 2.
Yeah.
Right where that drop is, right? That we were talking about, the drop on top, the wooden one. You've done it before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, before the 180-degree turn, which did we talk about? When we talked about Carter Road, did we talk a lot about how technical the switchbacks are?
I don't think so.
Man, that I felt like I almost went over my handlebar, down a hill because of the 180-degree turn. I mean, if you're not a good rider, just kind of get off and you turn around, but it's difficult. Anyway, but yeah, that second finger.
Caught a nasty cramp. You guys rode on. It took me a while to get it out, to work it out.
Yeah, we started hiking back.
And I'm limping my way back on my bike, right? Just
Earle died.
And I see,
we got to go get him.
I see Mr. H riding back on his e-bike, and Tally's running. I'm like, guys, I'm good. All right, I just caught a cramp.
But what happened before that, I would, in the brotherhood here, is that I told Tally, I said, he's been gone a long time. He could have come off his bike. And so I was the one that started back.
Oh, he knew.
Tally is barely walking towards the trail. So actually, Earle, I had your back, potentially.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So.
Well, I didn't want you, again, going the wrong way down a trail. And then, Earle picks himself off his bike. Is barely conscious from the fall that he might have had, riding on the trail, and you're going 20 miles an hour on your e-bike, zipping around with no effort. I was just a little worried about that. He did go backwards on a couple trails early on.
I got plenty of mileage on my back this ride. I think.
Yeah. The trail system, I forgot. You got to stay left on everything except the fingers, and then you have to stay right. So.
Well, finger 3 is a right entry as well.
Yeah, I think everything's a right entry. Yeah.
Finger 3 was pretty cool. They made a lot of different changes. So finger 1, we're jumping around here now, but I remember finger 1, the entry to finger 1, completely redone.
Yep, and way better.
So much better,
yes.
Right? We'll just leave it at that. Finger 3, some of the features have changed. The mountain, we'll call it a mountain, but the hill down.
Yeah.
Right? They threw a drop in there, which was cool. We didn't do it. I was tired.
But we wouldn't have done it anyway.
But there was something that caught our eye is right before you go up to the mountain, and I'm sure they probably heard of our podcast, and that's why they put that.
Yeah, obviously.
So when we talked about our first Carter Road episode, my big fall, and I posted those pictures, right? There's now a railing there, so you can't fall that way.
There is a railing. Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Yeah.
But they also did the poop chute.
The poop chute, yeah.
Which was awesome.
Dude, it's such a, it's, I don't know how an S turn.
I don't even know how you describe it as a poop chute. You drop into this thing.
I'm not sure that people are going to understand.
Everyone knows what a poop chute is. So instead of climbing up to the mountain, Mr. H led the way.
Yeah, very confidently. And it's late in the game, just zooms off. I was like, we had to ride it with our hands because the entry in, you can jump into a berm, which is made of cinder block, and then
which S's you into another berm.
Yes, made of cinder block, and if you miss any of that, you're going over
into the water.
And the water's not right there. It's not
now you have to tumble.
You have to fall with the aid of gravity.
Did you like that? The poop chute?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was a good, yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Going up and coming down the mountain or the hill is cool. I'd like to go up and look at the drop and pre-ride and ride the drop, but that was just fun. I'd like to get better at the poop chute. Really send it.
Yeah. And that's the thing about this place. I'm not sure that if we had a new rider, this would not be where I take them. I know you guys took me.
I did that.
You did that? Yeah.
I did that not with you. I did that with another person, the person that just called me, and I gave him my hardtail to ride. He did not do very well. He went down. He fell. He had a couple big falls.
How many times did you ride after that?
None. That was his one and only. I shied him away from it.
So we don't know the turns here very well. We don't know the trails. We can't I don't know. We can't build a lot of momentum. After today, I want to come back here and get good at riding Carter roads because I think this has so much this has potential to turn into our favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we didn't even do. And I think that's part of the problem is it's so big, and you get so tired that by the time you get to we can session the first, and we have, right?
Yeah.
Hit the first stuff fresh every time. We've never gone the opposite way. Because today we didn't even hit the back
No, they're
beast and all that. We didn't even hit those.
yeah, beast. They're like on the exit. There's So it's almost like you have to go in there and say, hey, today we're gonna bypass the first 30 minutes of what we did today, and instead of going off on those trails, either hit the connector trails only and just bypass all that stuff.
Well, you can take the fire road. The fire road goes right out to the fingers.
That's so much smarter than what I was gonna say. Yeah. And
So
then
bypass all that, hit the fire road, hit the fingers, hit all that fresh.
because then you can really. But then the next time, I don't want to skip the first 45 minutes of our ride.
Right.
Dude, was a blast.
The first jump line, like that's the first time I hit the jump line completely done. In the
Oh
beginning.
yeah, which is
So fun. We only hit it once,
yeah.
but
And it's not a jump line where you're like, this is going to send you into the atmosphere. Like, it's just a fun, flowy, like,
Yep.
you're like smiling and laughing the whole time.
yeah, you can clear the tables and the doubles, or
Yeah.
you can just roll them all.
Yep. I
Or
think
you
it's
can
a good
case them and
case them
some
super
people do,
hard.
like,
Technically, there's a berm gap. You can throw a berm gap in there, but I think it's a really good one to just have fun on. Or if you're like, hey, I'm just starting riding out and I want to get good at jumping, this is one that you can be like, hey, it's a flowy one, but pretty low risk. Everything's carpeted. Besides that double that starts the whole thing off.
right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the berm into the double gap. What are those called? You can roll them or you can double.
It's like a double.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. If it's not.
I case that's so hard. you said like you need a lot of speed to get into there.
So when Eric and I came here, I guess like a year ago or whatever, we sessioned that jump line for a good 30 minutes. And so I've hit that 10, 15 times before today. So I kind of knew, and it took me a little bit to get that. So I knew kind of the speed that I'd have to go to hit it. And it's like a weird little berm, but
How'd you do on those? Did you hit it? Did you?
Nope. No, I'm perfectly fine keeping my bike
On the ground
on the ground.
where it belongs.
Yes.
Did
you
you-
wouldn't
it
know.
doesn't belong there. It belongs in the air.
The bike may belong in the air, but your father does not belong in the air.
Did you at
He
least ride?
also does not belong going over the handlebars 3 times.
Did you at least ride on the jumps though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't have the
Oh, I get it.
yeah, it's just nothing that that compels me to ride my bike. I prefer to go as fast as I can on windy, flowy trails and that kind of stuff. So
Things that we've talked about
Absolutely.
that we hate.
Opposite of what I hate doing that.
But-
But that's proof you can just roll all that stuff.
You can roll those things, and then, but when I ride with him and we're just doing that flat pedaling stuff, like trying to, like you focus on how fast you can corner, and that plays a big part in how much fun you have. If you can go around a corner faster and carry speed through everything, like mountain biking gets way more fun.
to me, it's a lot like water skiing, because you look for flat water, smooth water, and you're carving slalom turns. That's fun. And snow skiing is the same thing. I didn't look for moguls and bumps to ski on. I went for the untouched snow. And if I had to ski through trees, that's what I did. So that's just for me to go through like Inception at Baum. I'm flying through there. I'm going through there around 10 miles an hour, average speed. So
For any Florida listeners, snow is this material that when it's below 32 degrees Fahrenheit and it doesn't rain anymore, that rain freezes and comes down as snow. And anyway,
I think most of America is familiar with snow after last week.
well, it was like 40 degrees. No, it did get below freezing here, didn't it?
Yeah,
Dude, it was
crazy.
frigid.
I thought about going for some bike rides. I didn't, in my road bike is in the garage. And I woke up those 2 mornings, and I was like, F this.
Yeah, because
Like,
the
so
air
cold
hits
in
you in
here.
the face, which is great in the summer. It's like this
Yeah.
natural fan. But when it's cold, like, yeah.
The garage is 30 degrees, and I did not want that air blowing on me. I was like, oh, I'll just go back to bed.
Yeah, I'll come back. It's Christmas time.
It's funny.
Overall, though, I enjoyed this ride far more than I thought I would, or I enjoyed the trails. I knew I was going to have fun, but I enjoyed the trails. And we came out here in large part because of Sean's kids, the trio behind bars. They've been crushing it. They had put a whole bunch of content on their Instagram and YouTube about hitting the features that today mostly I was too tired to do. But I was like, dude, they clearly did a lot of work. Let's check it out.
Right before I got here, I was watching some of their Instagram, or one of their reels posted, and I don't know where they're at right now, but they're always all over the place. And what's the little boy's name?
Weston.
A trail gap or a road gap. Did you see it?
No.
He hit a road gap,
Jeez.
1-footed over the
Dang
road.
it, he's so like it is so cool to watch those kids progress because they're constantly pushing themselves
So
like,
fast.
I'm
They're
so
going
excited
fast.
for them, and it's great because like my progression is like not hitting trees when I hit, like, you know what, like my progression just is not like I can't.
So
You're not going to be able to see my progression,
well,
but like it's fun.
Let's talk about it real quick. Do we have first off? Are we done with? I think we're done with Carter
Yeah.
Road, right? Do we have any merch drops? Any
No.
shout outs?
No.
We'll skip that. Let's talk about.
No more free shout outs.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Let's talk about. We had a really long talk with Sean the other night
Yeah.
from the owner of Adrenaline Bike Works, right? So let's talk about our progression. He has this, what is it, a 20 by 20 Flatlander.
Yes.
And he was like, dude, my kids can teach you how to backflip.
I know, which put me on the
like,
spot because I was like, oh, I can't backflip because I need like a foam pit to practice on.
Yeah, he's like, I have a Flatlander. He's like, it's right there.
He's like, it's the same thing as a foam pit. It's right here. You're almost standing on top of it. I was like,
He's like, my kids have taught X amount of people how to do backflips, right? He's like, they'll teach you.
I think I can do it.
So-
I've been thinking about a backflip hard.
So
since
talking
that.
about our progression, let's say it now. Sean's kids are going to teach us how to backflip this year.
All right. I
On a
said
dirt jumper.
2022, but I meant 2023.
Yeah, you misspoke. It's all right.
Also, talking about 2023, you want to talk about the challenge that you didn't know about that I made up in my driveway and then threw it out.
Yeah.
I posted it and I was like, check our Instagram, dude.
Yeah, so the day after our Christmas episode, right, at the bike shop,
Yeah.
I said, dude, I can make a manual trainer, right? People build buildings.
Yeah,
Did you
so-
hear that one? Did you listen to that episode yet?
I think I've listened to them all, but I need more of the story.
The last episode where Talman's like, where I'm like, I can build a manual bike trainer.
I was like, I'm going to buy a manual trainer. And he goes,
I can build that.
I can build one. And I was like, what?
You can build that? I was
you
like,
can-
yeah, people build buildings. I can build a bike trainer, right? Well, the next morning,
I thought you were referring that you were going to build me a bike trainer or a
I built
manual
one. I
trainer.
built a prototype, right?
It looked so good.
I'll build you one. I was going to be nice and build you one at your house, but you want to throw this challenge out there. So now-
It might have been a mistake. I shouldn't have done.
well, anyway, I built one, so now I'm going to get really good at them, and you don't have one, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be nice and I'll build you one at your house. We'll post a video of it because you're going to need the help.
Yeah.
And
So
you got so much room in your garage right now
I know.
with
I don't-
17 bikes,
I don't-
a camper,
I don't wanna talk-
workout bench,
I don't want to talk about my garage.
a refrigerator, chest freezer.
Well, I need a place to cool the beer.
Necessities.
So, and just to be clear, I challenged Earle to a wheelie and manual competition at the end of 2023. So I don't know how, I don't know the parameters of the challenge. We'll have to come up with something. But dude, you see my manual over the
saw it.
tabletop,
I was
bro.
super impressed.
I stopped riding and I was fist pumping. I'm gonna watch it on my GoPro and it's just gonna look like the lamest dude. It felt like Wait, I was on the X Games.
You might not even need a manual trainer. Cause
No, I
if
need
you're doing them
that.
on tabletops, you're doing pretty well.
Right. Well, I failed a lot before that, but that one worked out. I did. Are we good? I did want to bring up because I actually don't know where. Like, I remember, Dad, you started mountain biking, but I don't know who got you into the sport and where you started riding. Did you start riding at Banner right away?
Yeah. So I worked with a guy at the fire department, and Stan Engler. Mm-hmm. He's never going to hear this podcast.
He should. This guy.
I
Reach
could
out to
call
him.
him. I could
Yeah,
call him.
come
Yeah,
on.
I actually got his phone number. Anyway, he got me into mountain biking.
This guy lives the life, by the way. He mountain bikes, has this like amazing Sprinter van,
Where's he at?
just rides.
As far as I know, he's in Wenatchee, Washington, up in the mountains. He has a beautiful home.
Oh, nice.
Him and his wife Robin.
Get him in.
They go on this Sprinter van. It's
Lives,
four-wheel
so
drive.
Wenatchee's
it's
in
lifted.
the mountains, so you like wintertime skiing, snowboarding, whatever you want to do in the snow on the mountains, and then when the snow thaws, he's just riding mountain bikes.
Yeah, no, I'd love to meet this guy.
Yes,
Oh, and he's like super fit. I mean,
you got a great concussion story about him, though.
so we're on this ride. It's actually my favorite ride. It's called Sun Top, and it's up about a 2.5 hour ride up this fire road, and I believe it's the last operational smoke tower in the Cascade Mountain Range. So it's right next to.
You lost me
Mountain
a 2.5 hour ride up a hill.
Yeah, so you just grind it.
Hashtag
For
e-bike.
me, it would not be hard because I'm on an e-bike, but it is absolutely brutal. And then it's mostly down. There's one more climb, but we're on our way down. And
So how long is the whole? Just so we get it, like how long is that whole day for you? 2.5 hours up. I'm assuming you rest.
it's certainly an hour and a half to 2 hours down. So it's a good ratio for climb to ride down, and it's in the old growth forests and
You didn't have an
clear cuts.
e-bike back then, though.
No.
Oh, you used to crush it.
This
Good for
was
you.
yeah. And he was having knee problems. He didn't tell us, and there was 3 of us. And he was going down this trail, and there was a route that was parallel with the trail, and the dirt is brown, and all the dirt was on top of this root, so it's sticking up out of the ground, but you didn't really see it. And he was resting his knee, so he had a pedal down, and his pedal hit that root. And he was probably doing, I would guess, I was behind, but I would guess he was doing probably 12 to 15 miles an hour. And so it instantly catapulted him in the air. Luckily, his fall threaded through a couple of big trees. He didn't hit any trees, but he hit his head pretty hard. And if you've ever seen anybody with a concussion, of course, it's very serious, but it's quite comical because they keep asking the same question over and over and over again. And so I won't go into detail about the conversations, but by the end of it, I owned his Sprinter van and his home on Lake Washington, which is near Seattle.
Time to pay up.
And I had the keys and everything. It was great. It was a great ride for me, but... Anyway, he's a great guy.
How long did it take you from when you started riding? Because you rode road bikes when you younger days prior to your children taking away your fun. You rode road bikes, so the transition to mountain biking wasn't
No,
super
and I used to
difficult.
race motorcycles when I was even younger.
He was so much cooler than
What'd you do, play soccer?
loser.
So
He had a sail before me. He had a sailboat, a sports car, raced motorcycles. You had a camper van. He took his camper van and like going out, and he had a motorcycle and his skis, and that was like his winter. So cool.
Yeah, I hunted
You ruined this
usually
guy.
elk hunted and deer hunted probably 10 or 20 days of the year. Snow skied,
everyone,
had seasons pass and skied
Now
25
look at him,
times
guys.
a
He's
year.
on a podcast. Totally worth it.
Gave all that up to take you to soccer practice, son.
My bad. So was Sunridge was that your or Sunridge or Suntop?
Suntop.
Suntop. So you started doing that right away?
No, I was. That's a couple years into mountain biking. But if anybody ever wants to do a great ride, that's it's considered one of the epic rides in the state of Washington. So it's a huge ride. It's a big day. It's 5-6 hours, and does not include driving to and from. So
it's in the Cascades? It's not. Is it anywhere near Mount Rainier?
yeah, it's Mount Rainier's. Look like it's right across.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Dude.
It's part of the Cascade
cool.
Mountain Range. So
How quickly did you go from I'm interested in mountain biking to buying a mountain bike? Because when you bought your bike, I remember we had like an hour-long conversation, and you were just telling me the cool features on your bike. That was when like the brain was really cool.
That was the same one? That was the
20,
stump
yeah.
jumper?
So yeah, the stump jumper, bro. 29ers back then was like
2013?
way ahead of its time.
What year is that bike?
That's a 2013, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
2013 stump jumper, and it was. I mean, I have it hanging up in my garage right now.
It's a good bike. I mean, now you'd look at it in the slack line, you'd think, oh, you're so far over your front tire, but
That's why you climbed so well in Mulberry Gap when you took it.
that must be it. That must be it.
Yeah, come on, guys, this is easy. We all have enduro bikes. And
Sorry, I think I said a joke. How fast did you go from being interested in mountain biking to buying a bike?
Oh, once, me and Mom, Mrs. Hall, got interested. We went down to the bike shop. Stan was a very good customer at this bike shop, and he did very good deals for the police and firefighters at his shop. So we got a pretty good deal, but we dropped a fair amount of cash. 2 mountain bikes, helmets.
The same mountain bike, yeah.
It was the whole shooting match, and we walked out of there about $8,000 with less money in the bank. But it's way more fun, I think, than road riding. There's just so much to it. It's so much like snow skiing. It's so much like water skiing. So it was fun. We started riding right away, and Mom had her first crash over the handlebars, broke her jaw.
That was
on
bad.
one of her very first rides. That was
She got
unfortunate
confused.
and
She was going down a
expensive.
bit of a hill, and not a big hill, but got confused which brake goes to which tire.
that'll do it.
She locked up the front tire and went over. Good news is she absorbed all the landing with her jaw, which was
So
a
anyway.
hospital visit.
But to her credit, she stuck it out, and she, after
Yep.
the next probably 6 months, and got back on that bike and down the road again.
With a full face helmet. So
Smart.
yeah, it really is. It's not like once you get used to riding with it, it's really not that big of a hindrance.
I saw your chest protector that you put on today, and I was like, oh, I still haven't bought one. But my wife did not buy me one for Christmas, so she must not care.
That's so weird. Santa, sometimes Santa makes late runs. There's
Oh, it did on a bike bump.
yeah.
I think looking around, I think you guys are into Christmas 2028 right now for
Yeah.
getting presents from your spouse.
Obviously,
about
I've been so good that Santa's like, you need more. You need more. Yeah, the chest protector is the same thing. I forget that I'm riding with it. It's just, you hope you don't need it, but if it's there, if you need it, it's there. Yeah, I think that's it. That was a good dude. That was a really good ride. It was faster than I remember, and the trails were good. So that was awesome. Thank you, Dad, for riding with us and joining us on the
Yeah,
podcast.
thanks for having me out.
It's fun having you. Next time, let's start on the other side.
Start on the other side, and we'll do a little bit more techier features and talk about that.
Sounds good.
All right. In the meantime, guys, enjoy your ride. Thanks for listening.
See you.